Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great state of Florida. One hell of a drug. And I do want to welcome you to the channel today, wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. Today, the title of this video is Trader's Paradise and Investor's Hell. And I believe that's what we're seeing currently in the crypto markets at the moment. I'm going to share what my strategy is, what I'm doing, and how I'm navigating this market. We're going to share a bunch of news and charts as well. But before we do that, smash the like button. This does help get this channel out to more people and does, of course, help support the channel, as does your wonderful comments that you take the time to write. I take the time to read them and respond. Thank you so much for that. Now, of course, we have, before we jump into any Bitcoin news, obviously, we have the S&P falls more than 4% for 3 straight days, well, pending the open, but an over futures opened on Sunday evening, and in pre-market trading, this looks like it is going to happen again. And this hasn't happened since the Great Depression. Okay, but I do think there are some things that are different. In the Great Depression, they had a 10% interest rate. That is not the case. And of course, I do expect the Fed to cut rates. And there wasn't a money printer or quantitative easing where the Fed was a buyer in the markets. And so, of course, there are some circuit breakers, thresholds, and time duration. So check that out. I posted that to my Twitter account or my X account there. So you can check that out. You can follow me at Crypto Coins 365 Tribal Trader there. You can have a look at what may happen today. It's possible we get this first level 1 halt very quickly in trading. We'll see what happens there when the markets open. Now, of course, we do have some key events this week. Reciprocal tariff responses like big and May. Well, it's kind of already happened. We've had some people come to the table like Vietnam. Looks like India is going to come to the table, possibly Japan. China and Europe have kind of fired back. So there are some various responses there. We'll see what else shakes out today. We got the Fed meeting minutes on Wednesday. These could be a little bit outdated depending upon what happens. Of course, they might end up cutting rates. We could see some rate cuts this week. They might jump in early with some emergency measures there. We do have the CPI inflation data on Thursday, some unemployment data on Thursday, and some PPI inflation data on Friday. This is going to be absolutely huge there, of course. And so the bearish case, I will say, because I do want to present a very balanced overview here, is that if you can see the MACD here, on the monthly chart, you do see that the top was in when we saw that top line on the MACD cross below the lower line there. And that was signal of the end of the bull market. And we did see, over here where people were saying, oh, this was the top, but we just didn't see this crossover. Here's the crossover here. And as you can see from that moment down into a bear market, and we are getting dangerously close to it again here. So I would urge some caution. I did a video just a few days ago talking about the death cross incoming. If you haven't watched that video just from a couple of days ago, please watch that. I go into great detail of what I think will be the end of the bull run and what the signs will be there, okay? Of course, on a bullish perspective, at least in the short term, we do have a CME gap there up to about 84,000 or just short of 84,000. That these CME gaps usually have been filled, okay, and they usually get filled sooner rather than later. Of course, if we go into a straight bear market from here, that may not get filled until the next bull market. So just be careful on that one as well. Some CME gaps do take a long time to get filled, okay? So let's have a look at the Bitcoin charts. And as we can see here, there's a few levels that I've been sharing about. And I did say that I would be surprised if we didn't come down and tag the 50-week moving average. Even on the Stocks with Josh show, we both shared how we felt that this was the most likely scenario, is to come down and tag this level. We even came down to 74,000. It's possible here that the bottom is in, of course, and so I did pick up another buy here of Bitcoin around these levels at the 50-week moving average. Now, of course, historically, the bull run is not over, or historically been over, until a few things happen. I'll just quickly run over it here. Number one, the death cross, where the 50-day moving average goes below the 200. We've had that. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go back to my video from a couple of days ago, the death cross video, and I explain in great detail historically what happens. I'm not going to do that today. So we've seen the death cross. That's number one. That's happened. The 200 now, you see the light blue line is above the blue line, and that death cross happened over the weekend. Number two, we need to see the 50-week moving average open and close below. Now, of course, we didn't see a close, so that can't happen this week. The earliest that could happen is Sunday. If we see a close below the 50-week moving average, then it brings into possibility my circuit breaker number two. So we're at least okay for another week. Now, of course, in the April 2021 dump, which didn't really recover till June, July, a few months later, we did see a few closes below this level, but never a full open and close candle below that. So that's what we're also looking for here. To keep in mind that we could this week come all the way down. This is an area to watch because there's also, now we lost the tribal trades trend line. We just kept banging away on it and eventually it broke. And then the second tribal trades trend line is here. This has also been a very good trend line. You can see going back and even further. But you can see that we could possibly get a drop down to the 20 EMA on the monthly, which is at 67,900. So keep that on your radar. Of course, we do have this key Fibonacci level at 73,400, which would be some support to begin with. But this area here is the next area of interest right here. So I've got some buy orders in here at 73,400. And also down here at about the 67,900. And I do have some buy orders at the previous all-time high, which was around that $69,000 level as well. So those are those three buys that I have in for Bitcoin on the Bitcoin charts. Now, the third circuit breaker is after we see the death cross and we see an open and close, there will be a dead cat bounce up to the 200-day simple moving average, which will be down a little bit lower by then. And a rejection on that would be the confirmation of the bear market. Okay, so that is the keys there. And so traders paradise and investors hell, what does that mean? Well, this is something I've been sharing about since January before we dropped in anticipation. And this is why the Tribal Trades Discord has been profitable, because we have been teaching there for months in preparation of this, shorting the market so people could make money on the way down. I also taught some classes in the Stocks with Josh Discord as well, because you can make money on the way down and you can learn how to trade leverage responsibly without getting wrecked, without getting liquidated, with having stop losses set to minimize any losses just in case it moves the other way. But of course, you can reverse trades. And obviously when it hit the 50-week moving average, you would have flipped. If I had been awake, I would have flipped from short back to long, at least temporarily. And then if we would lose this level here, then flip short again to the downside and continue to make money. Because if we do go into a bear market and if the 4-year cycle is over, and just remember in 2013, the market did top 12 months after the halving, and it topped 18 months in the last two bull runs. So out of the three, the last two it topped 18 months after, which would bring us through to about October, November. And if we mirror the 2013 top, it was 12 months after, then that would be April. However, I don't think that's the case. We haven't seen these things shake out, but we do have to consider and be prepared. And to be prepared means to learning to make money on the way down. You can make an incredible amount of money. If Bitcoin was to go from 109 all the way down to, this would be where Bitcoin would probably find its bottom if we capitulated from here at the 200-week moving average. That's historically been the bear market low at around 45,000. You can make money all the way down as price goes down. And that's the same with altcoins, even more money on the way down. And so you can learn how to do that. You can check out the Discords. They are below in the description of this video. If you click the more button, that will pop out. And there are links there for the Tribal Trades Discord. There are live trading sessions in there that I do every single week with the Tribal Trades community, where you can trade with me and learn how to long, short the market, both on a shorter term time frame if you're someone who works from home and like day trading, but also for those who work 9 to 5, also teach how to get entries and exits over a longer period of time so you can make money while you're at work and can execute buy and sell orders, setting take profit and stop losses as well there. So no matter what kind of trader you are, a short, medium, or long trader, you can learn to profit from the market going on the way down. And then I look to guide, as we go into a bear market, to where I will be buying in the bear market, because the millionaires are made in the bear market. You can make money on the way down. You just don't have to watch your portfolio. And this is where investors how, and I warned people about this back in January. I said I was selling out of all of my low caps and my means. I was rolling in just to a few coins. And then in February, I got completely out of most of positions, apart from Bitcoin, of course. And then I shared how I would just be swinging and scalping, which means that I was buying low and then buying support, selling at resistance, getting in and out of trades, both on the short and the medium time frame. Some of these trades last a few minutes, and some of these trades last a few hours, a few days, and some of them a week, usually not more than a week in this market, a week or so. And so you can learn how to profit both to the upside and to the downside, where you can buy these levels and open up a short and then possibly write it down if we come to the 20 EMA on the monthly. And of course, if you believe this is the bottom, which it quite possibly be, learn how to open a position here and ride it to the upside and profit in both directions, no matter what the market is doing, whether it's going up, whether it's going down, or whether it's going sideways. And I have said so repeatedly over the last few months, this is a trader's market. It's not an investor's market. You do not want to have been buying a dip that just keeps dipping. That's like trying to catch a falling knife. So I have not been dollar cost average buying. I have not been adding to my positions. The only one that I have done that for is Bitcoin, and that's it. And I got a little bit more Bitcoin here. I added Bitcoin here at the Tribal Trades trend line. I added a little bit more at the 50 EMA on the weekly yesterday, and I added a little bit more at the 50 week moving average, and of course would add some more to these levels and really see whether we get a full open, a candle open and close below there. Of course, we do have the hash ribbons indicator, which has put a blue buy signal there, and that generally has not failed. So I do still think we are in a bull market. It would be very rare or unusual for this to be a false signal, of course. So this has generally been a good time to buy. And possibly people might say yes. And usually after this buy signal happens, Bitcoin usually does go down a little bit more before rebounding. All right, that's my strategy for trading, just short-term scalps and swing trades, some accumulation of some Bitcoin, some accumulation of some stocks. See my stocks video from yesterday. I go through all the levels there. And of course, I'm sharing all of my levels for stocks and crypto in the Discord. So make sure you're in there checking that out. Also in the Stocks with Josh Discord with my own Crown Traders channel in there, where I share education, insights, of course, my trade setups, and entertainment, right? Because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? And of course, we miss one thing, because this is huge. The liquidity area is there to follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And what did I share? I told you guys. I said if I was the market maker, I would come down and get these levels between 74 and 76,000, and the market maker has come and done that. There is a little bit more down here at 73,000 there, billions of dollars. There's probably another $10 billion or so there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came down, got those levels there. And look, it is a little scary. We do have that $66,000 level there, 2 billion. 1 billion, that's a ways away from there. And of course, we could be in bear market territory at that point. Remember, you can make money on the way down to the downside, but we do have way more liquidity to the upside now, up at 88,000, 95,000, 100,000, 110,000, literally billions and billions of dollars there. Even if we move to the shorter term time frames and the monthly time frame, there's going to be more to the upside there. There you can see the market makers came and grabbed that and then got the rest. Huge amounts of liquidity there at 88, 89,000, up around where the 200-day moving average is. So we could come up there, and if we reject around the 85 to 88, we could then go into a bear market from there if we reject off the 200-day moving average. Be interesting to see how that plays out. Again, if I'm the market maker, I'm going to go a little bit deeper and get this liquidity here, and then I would look to send it to the upside and at least get back to this 100,000, and maybe just like last time, we went a dump from 65 to 28 back to 69. We could have a dump from 109 down to these low 70s, maybe high 60s levels, and then pump back up to maybe 100, 112, 120,000, and that would be the Bitcoin top. That's my most hopeful scenario. And again, this is why it's called a trader's paradise and investor's hell, because so many people I've talked to, they're down on their coins. There was no stop losses put in place. They didn't get out when the market was dumping down 30 or 40% on those investments. And it is an investor's hell. It's a trader's paradise. Learn how to trade. Join me in the Discords below. You can sign up there. And of course, until the next episode, or until I see you on the Discord, happy trading.